Dr. Andy Mars is also known as Ravi, beloved rabbi and teacher at the Mount Arlington Synagogue, formerly known as B'nai Tov, which serves families in and around the Lake Hopatcong area of New Jersey. Ravi has been a compassionate vegan for 36 years. His dedication to a loving coexistence among all beings has also been demonstrated in his work at the synagogue and with children and the greater community with great success. Today, we continue with Ravi's engaging lecture, providing an overview of Judaism. Throughout this episode, the name of the Lord is reverently spelled as G-D, according to Jewish tradition.
The student I was about to mention, Lev, he was not pleased when he found out what Torah portion was to be read on the Shabbat that he was going to become a bar mitzvah. It was a portion about the rules of kosher slaughter. This gravely troubled Lev. Lev was 13 at the time, and he had gone vegan when he was 11. His parents were not vegan, hence they did not share his concerns, but Lev was caring, compassionate, and committed. He came to me to discuss his concern regarding the Torah portion. After some intense discussion, Lev came to love his Torah portion, and he created quite the poignant sermon to teach from this parsha to his congregation of family, friends, and community. To paraphrase, and maybe try and even channel Lev, this is roughly the essence of how his sermon began. Many of you here today are parents. As parents, many of you for years have been telling your children, don't drink, don't drink, don't drink. Yet, then at some point, you might tell your children, but if you're going to drink, then at least don't drink and drive. While you do not want your child to drink in the first place, if your child's not going to follow your ideal rules, then you might likely put some next level boundaries forth to stop him from doing even worse than bad. After continuing a little further with that, Lev then ventured forward in making the connection. That is like the rules of kashrut. The Torah gives us rules for slaughtering animals, not because we are ever being told to slaughter animals, but because we are being told how to slaughter them in case we actually decide to do that which we don't need and should not be doing. Nowhere in the Torah are Jews ever commanded to have to use animals in any way. But if we are going to use them, then we are provided rules on how to at least lessen the harm. That is the intent. The word kosher, by the way, means fit or acceptable. One of the key rules, some would call it the first rule of kashrut, of what is kosher, what is fit or acceptable, is that we are never to consume meat and dairy. While we never need to consume meat or dairy, we are particularly prohibited from harming two generations at the same time. The meat represents the parent's generation, and the dairy represents the child's generation. The ideal is that we never hurt either. But if we are going to consume one, then we cannot also consume the other. As I was earlier explaining about the commandments, this is one of the commandments in the Torah. Thou shalt not consume meat and dairy. If, though, someone does not consume meat or dairy, then that is actually the ideal. And this commandment then doesn't need to be worried about. This commandment, though, is considered so important that it is actually stated 3 times in the Torah. Elohecha lo tevashel gedi b'chalav imo. This is in Shemot chapter 23, sentence 19, Shemot chapter 34, sentence 26, and in Devarim chapter 14, sentence 21. Being told that we are not to have meat and dairy means that we need to have neither of them at all. That prohibition is one of the negative commandments, the thou shalt not commandments. There are a number of commandments, if only we pay attention to them, that are there to guide us on what is not kosher, what is inappropriate for us to eat, and on what is kosher, what is appropriate for us to eat. In fact, one of the very first commandments in the entire Torah is a commandment of what we actually are supposed to eat. It is a positive commandment that we are to responsibly take care of the other creatures of the earth. And then comes the third commandment of the 613. In Bereshit chapter 1, sentence 29, it states, Vayomer Elohim, Hine natachti lachem et kol esev, zorea zera, asher al pnei chol haaretz, v'et kol haetz, asher bo, puri etz zorea zara, lachem yiyeh liacha. And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-yielding seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for food. That is what we are to eat. We are to eat that which grows from seeds. Nowhere in the Torah are we told that animals were given to us to eat. We are, though, told that plant life is what for us shall be for food. There are so many lessons for us to learn from the Torah, but one of the simplest rules is what we are to eat. Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. L'kol eitz hagan achol tochel. It is not until about 10 generations later, at the time of Noah, when the Torah does give permission to eat meat. It was due to people's weaknesses, due to their weakness in being willing to give into temptation to eat animals. Human behavior had gone so awry. Instead of doing good as they should, people were doing horribly wrong. Eating animals was one part of the degeneration of mankind. As stated in Bereshit chapter 6, sentence 12, And God saw the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way upon the earth. Vayare Elohim et haaretz, v'hinei nishchata kehishchit kol basar, et darcho al haaretz. While we were being permitted to eat meat due to our weakness, as Lev well communicated, boundaries were given to us. Boundaries to definitely not cross, even if we are going to cross the more optimal boundaries that we were already given of what we should not be doing. There is a big difference between being permitted to do something and being commanded to do something. There are rules given to us in the Torah of how to do certain things if we are to do them. But we would be even better off if we did not do those things at any level. Not eating anything that ever was or came from an animal. Being vegan is authentically the ideal, according to Torah, according to Judaism. We may be permitted to do otherwise, but that doesn't mean we should. In our little synagogue, B'nai Tov, Children of Good, I regularly put the emphasis of all we do on how Judaism is, at its core, wanting us to follow Torah, to truly do good, to be Or LaGoyim, a light unto the nations, to lead the way positively and righteously for others, to quite simply be the most good we can, to do the most good we can, to bring the most good into the world. We may be permitted to do otherwise, but goodness is the ideal to which we are to aspire. In the beginning of time, Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden, was the ideal, and the world was vegan then. In the end of times, when the Moshiach comes, as many though misquote, and the lion shall lay down with the lamb, the world will again be vegan. The concept is very much part of Judaism, but the quote is slightly off. The original Judaic quote is actually not about a lion, but about a wolf with the lamb, and other great animal relationships too. Nonetheless, the message is the same. Also, it is not from the Torah itself, but it is from the Nevi'im section of the Tanakh, of which the Torah is certainly the foundational critical part. From the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, sentences 6 through 9. V'gar ze'ev im kevesh, v'namer im gedi yirbats, v'egel uchvir, u'meri yachdav, v'hahar katon, noheg bam, u'farav adov, tir ena, yachdav yirbtsu, yaldei hen, yaryeh kabachkar, yochal teven, v'she'asha yonek, al chur paten, v'al murat sifoni, gamul yado hada, lo yareu, v'lo yashchitu, b'chol har kadshi, ki malah haaretz, de'ah et Adonai. And the wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together. And a little child shall lead them, and the cow and the bear shall feed. Their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and the sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the basilisk's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord. This beautifully paints the picture of the Jewish ideal, about God's ideal, that whether we say the lion or whether we say the wolf shall get along in peace without hurting the lamb. The message is there. There shall be no more hurting or destroying. That is the ideal of the way it was in Eden, and that is the ideal of the way it shall ultimately be again. It is my deep belief, how I live, and what I teach, that if the ideal in the beginning was vegan, and if the ideal in the end will again be vegan, then why not elevate our existence to such a holier, more ideal existence in these days in between? Being vegan is the Jewish ideal. We do not need to wait for the Mashiach to come. We can each do our part. We can correspondingly better ready the world for the Mashiach. As is the ideal in Torah, we can do the most good we can even when we are permitted to do otherwise. I regularly live my life taking every decision I have to make as consciously and responsibly as I can, being the most good I can, doing the most good I can, and bringing about the most good I can. If only more people lived this way. I am deeply honored, though, to know so many impressive kids who, even when their parents are not yet on this page, so consciously and responsibly live their own lives of such goodness. That, though, could be a session for another time. Toda rabah, l'shavua tov.
For more information on Ravi Avi's Dr. Andy Marr's noble work, please visit b'nai-tov.org and tomorrowsadults.org. Courageous viewers, we thank you for being with us on Words of Wisdom.